working for you. This is a CBS 6 breaking news alert.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Brennan Summers, CBS 6 News. Just about 8 o'clock on this Saturday, we break into regular programming for an update on a day of violence and chaos in the Charlottesville area. That is where thousands of people attending a Unite the Right rally organized by a right-wing activist spent part of the day clashing and fighting in the streets with counter-protesters. In all, the Charlottesville police chief says 35 people were injured. One person was killed, and 9 others were injured when a car slammed into a group of protesters. We'll have much more on that in a moment. But first, 2 people are dead after a helicopter crash in nearby Albemarle County. That is just a few miles from where those protests were taking place. President Donald Trump just tweeted that the victims are members of Virginia State Police. Our Melissa Hippolyte joins us live near the scene of the crash. Melissa, what have you learned?
Well, Brennan, we are west of Charlottesville, as you mentioned, in Albemarle County. This neighborhood is called Bel Air, and just for a point of reference, many of you may have heard of the Boar's Head Inn. That is very close to this neighborhood. I'm going to step out of the shot so we can get right into the scene that is behind me here. It is back there where the helicopter crashed just before 5 o'clock today. Now, this is the information that Virginia State Police have confirmed so far for us. 2 people died in that helicopter crash. The cause of the crash is still under investigation. Virginia State Police are not identifying the individuals that are involved. They are not saying if this was a private helicopter or another type of helicopter. They're not providing any comment on who these folks were. Virginia State Police say that the helicopter crashed into some woods back there. Neighbors tell me that is very close to a house, but apparently the helicopter, according to Virginia State Police, did not hit the house, did not hit anything on the ground. And Virginia State Police say they are still trying to determine if this is related in any way to the Unite the Right rally that was taking place in downtown Charlottesville.
A state of emergency in Charlottesville. Man against man. Protesters clashing with police. This is the Unite the Right rally. White nationalist groups protesting in Emancipation Park, fighting the impending move of the Confederate General Robert E. Lee statue.
I'm here protecting my First Amendment right and trying to keep the statue from being removed.
And Antifa groups, anti-fascism counter-protesters, pushing back Saturday.
A group of people thinks that they are entitled more so over another group of people.
Both demonstrators and journalists pepper sprayed.
This event has been declared an unlawful assembly. You are to leave the area immediately, or you will be arrested.
As violence grew among the thousands, police moved in and forced everyone out even before the rally was scheduled to start at noon.
I'm from Southern.
We caught up with this white nationalist at the rally and later at McIntyre Park about 2 miles away, bloodied up.
Now we'll never back down.
The alt-right gathered here to get a boost from former KKK leader David Duke.
This is the first step toward taking America back. We're not going to sit down and take it any longer.
During a day where the ugly side of America spilled out in the streets.
This is our history, and it doesn't need to be removed.
After this violent Saturday, organizers of this Unite the Right rally say they will return to this area. Working for you in Charlottesville, I'm Brennan King, CBS 6 News.
It's going to be a dark day in our history. It was a day from hell.
A day of violence and chaos in the Charlottesville area ends with 3 people dead, including 2 Virginia State troopers.
This video just into our newsroom shows an ambulance receiving a Virginia State Police escort on Interstate 64. That ambulance carrying the bodies of those 2 troopers killed in a helicopter crash outside of Charlottesville today. They are being transported to the state medical examiner's office downtown.
And we have just learned the names of those troopers. Virginia State Police say 48-year-old Jay Cullen of Midlothian and Burke Bates of New Kent died at the scene. Bates would have turned 41 tomorrow.
We have complete team coverage from Charlottesville tonight.
And that starts with our very own Melissa Hippolyte, who spoke to a man who witnessed that crash. She's live to tell us more about what she's learning about the troopers on board. Melissa.
Well, Brennan, this was a tragic day for the Charlottesville community as well as the Richmond community, as 2 Virginia State Police troopers from the Richmond area lost their lives right here in this neighborhood outside of Charlottesville.
It sounded mechanically like it was having problems.
In the middle of some yard work.
It was very apparent that the pilot was trying to gain control of the craft.
And as violence erupted a few miles away in downtown Charlottesville, Robbie Knoll looked up to see a helicopter losing control just before 5.
It appeared to honestly invert, to turn upside down.
Knoll says he watched powerless as the helicopter dropped vertically, tail down.
It lost some parts, seemed to fly off, and then it came down relatively quickly. Frankly, I was a little shaken.
Virginia State Police confirmed the helicopter belonged to them, and 2 troopers who were assisting with public safety at the Charlottesville protests died. Those troopers are Lieutenant H.J. Cullen, age 48, from Midlothian, Virginia, and Trooper Pilot Burke M.M. Bates from New Kent. Trooper Bates would have been 41 this Sunday.
It was tragic, and you could tell right away it was tragic. You could tell. Just by it got me a little choked up in talking to some of the neighbors about it early on.
President Donald Trump offered his condolences in a tweet to the, quote, families and fellow officers of the Virginia State Police who died today, unquote. Sources say state police were filming the protests in Charlottesville from the helicopter. We captured these images of what appear to be 2 VSP pilots looking very emotional. Pictures that highlight a tragic day for the Virginia State Police, for Virginia, and for the city of Charlottesville.
It was a day from hell. You know, we'll survive, we'll come back, but it's going to be a dark day in our history.
Now, the National Transportation Safety Board is investigating this crash. The Virginia State Police say they do not believe that foul play is involved. Working for you tonight in Albemarle County, I'm Melissa Hippolyte for CBS 6.
Thank you, Melissa. Well, as you heard from Melissa, President Donald Trump tweeting tonight deepest condolences to the families and fellow officers of the Virginia State Police who died today. You are all among the best this nation produces. And Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe and First Lady Dorothy McAuliffe released a statement on the deaths of Troopers Cullen and Bates. It reads, "We are deeply saddened by the loss of Jay and Burke, both of whom were our close friends and trusted members of our team. Jay has flown us across the Commonwealth for more than 3.5 years. Burke was devoted to our entire family as part of our Executive Protective Unit team for the past 3 years. This is a devastating loss for their families, the Virginia State Police, and the entire Commonwealth. Our hearts go out to their wives and children, and we stand to support them during this difficult time. These heroes were a part of our family, and we are simply heartbroken." Well, that helicopter crash happened just hours after a car tore through a crowd of protesters marching near Charlottesville's downtown mall, killing a woman and injuring many others.
We have new details. Police say the driver is pictured here, 20-year-old James Alex Fields Jr. from Ohio. He's now been charged with second-degree murder, malicious wounding, and failing to stop. CBS 6 senior reporter Wayne Koval is live for us in Charlottesville. He spoke to people who witnessed the crash. Wayne.
Well, Brennan, the clash between white nationalists and counter demonstrators turned deadly Saturday afternoon when witnesses say the driver of that car intentionally sped up, hitting multiple people, then backed up, hitting more people. Those injured brought here to UVA Medical Center. Now a 20-year-old Ohio man facing multiple charges, including second-degree murder.
They were running for their lives is what it looked like.
The video is chilling, a car plowing through people walking along a street. The impact so forceful, one victim thrown into the air.
Go, 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 go. People had, bloodied arms, bloodied legs. They were carrying people on stretchers.
Then the car backs up, hitting more people, 4 speeding off.
One person's leg at the knee had been it was turned like it had been broken.
A 32-year-old woman crossing the street is killed, 8 others with injuries ranging from life-threatening to minor. Governor Terry McAuliffe says
that there has got to be a movement in this country to bring people together. The hatred and rhetoric that has gone on and has intensified over the last couple months is dividing this great nation.
Police say with the help of witnesses and cell phone video, the car was identified and then found in Charlottesville on Monticello Avenue. The driver taken into custody by Charlottesville police. The driver of that car, 20-year-old James Alex Fields Jr. of Ohio, is charged with second-degree murder, 3 counts of malicious wounding, and 1 count of hit and run. Now, just a few minutes ago, we learned that the Richmond field office of the FBI Civil Rights Division and the U.S. Attorney's Office have announced they have opened a civil rights investigation into that deadly crash here in Charlottesville. Working for you in Charlottesville, Wayne Koval, CBS 6 News.